guys, it's Filipino9 here, aka the literary wolf at Tumblr. Yeah, I switched that from fanfiction.net because fanfiction.net sucks nowadays. Okay, but yeah, it's time for Unscripted number 2. I'm so out of it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see. What are we doing here? Well, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for the positive feedback from top 10 hottest female video game characters. I really wasn't expecting all the positive comments I got. I mean, sure, there were some questionable comments, but it's YouTube. You're gonna get those no matter what topic you do. So, yeah. Thanks for all the positive feedback, and hopefully my next countdown, which will be 2 videos down the line, because I have to do Let's Talk Pairings, Bubbling, and I have to do that review of Dead Leaves. But after that, it'll be my next countdown, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. Okay, let's get to the topic of today's Unscripted, and I actually have notes this time around. I'm looking at my notes on my laptop screen right now, because I'm too lazy to write anything down and my printer is out of ink. The first thing I want to talk about is, now that I've had more than enough time to meditate on both movies, and the fact that I had to see the second one at the end of last month, I think it was. Well, either way, now that I've had more than enough time to meditate on both movies, I can now give my firm opinion on Wreck-It Ralph and Rise of the Guardians. And I'm sorry to say, well, no, I'm not really sorry to say this, but critically looking at both films, Rise of the Guardians was a better movie. I'm sorry. And the main reason why Rise of the Guardians was better was, I don't know, it had more intense emotion all the way through. I mean, you can see that Wreck-It Ralph was literally made with children in mind. Both movies were made with children in mind, but Wreck-It Ralph was just like, well, we gotta keep it emotional, but keep it emotional to the range that children won't feel uncomfortable. Whereas Rise of the Guardians is like, Guillermo del Toro directed it, so even if it's a children's film, he's gonna get his intensity in there. I mean, look at his cinematography. He's gonna get his intensity in there. I mean, I liked Wreck-It Ralph. Of course, as a gamer, I'm gonna like Wreck-It Ralph, and I liked all the video game references, but there were just 2 things about that movie that killed it for me. First of all, why? Why, movie film writers? Why did we have to spend so much goddamn time in Sugar Rush? I get it. It's pretty. I get it. The scenery is nice, and I like how they animated most of the elements of Sugar Rush, but why did we have to spend so much time there? And the second problem, obviously tied into Sugar Rush, was Vanellope. I'm sorry if I sound heartless while saying this. I hated Vanellope. She was an annoying little shit. I'm sorry. I mean, when I told this to my friends, they were all like, "Oh, well, she's a little kid. She has to be annoying." Bullshit. The idea that little kid characters have to be annoying is just lazy writing. You want to know what other little kid characters basically shatter the whole little kid characters have to be annoying trope? Let's see. Sealand from Italia. Pound Cake and Pumpkin Cake from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. The Cutie Mark Crusaders from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Maggie from The Simpsons. None of these characters are annoying, but they're still little kids. I mean, Vanellope, in my eyes, was only likable during the last 10 minutes of the movie. And that's really not good. I mean, the movie was good, but the fact that halfway through the film it turned from Wreck-It Ralph to Vanellope von Schweetz, her sidekick Ralph, and their adventures through Sugar Rush, yeah, that was kind of to me. And then some people are probably saying, "Oh, you just like Rise of the Guardians better because you're probably a Jack Frost fangirl." Really, I'm not. I mean, yeah, Jack Frost was kind of attractive, but if we're turning this into a who is the most attractive person in Rise of the Guardians, in my eyes, and you all know that my tastes are weird. In my eyes, it was North and Pitt. Those were the two most attractive people in Rise of the Guardians for me. Rise of the Guardians was just more intense for me, and I felt myself being more immersed in that movie than Wreck-It Ralph. Both movies are good. I just like Rise of the Guardians better. Okay, next thing is... See, if My Little Pony is going to make me facepalm every time I have to talk about it, I wonder what I'm doing with my life. Okay, the season finale. You know, I'm just going to say, the season finale was amazing. I mean, yeah, I still hate the fact that Alicorn Twilight was the direction that we had to go through, just for the sake of Meine Kleine Hasbro to sell more toys. By the way, that was My Little Hasbro in very broken German. And you'll find out why I call them that later on in this video. But the fact that Alicorn Twilight was the direction we had to go through, I don't know. I just really... And it's... I explained this in the last Unscripted, but now that the episode is out, I can say more. Just the means of Twilight becoming an alicorn was really... You can't go God tier without experiencing pain! That's my main thing. You cannot go from one level of existence to the grand scale level of existence without experiencing some sort of pain. Freaking hell, some of the Disney princesses even went through some sort of pain or brutal hardship. I mean, Snow White died. Rapunzel lost her hair, though Disney seems to forget about that with all the advertising they do. She lost her hair, which was basically her life. All of her life was her hair for so long, and for Flynn or Finn or whatever his name was to cut it so he could save her. That was traumatic. That was a traumatic experience. Princess Tiana, freaking... She went through so much. She went through so much over the course of her life before she became a princess. All these characters have gone through so much before they get to their highest level of being. Yet MLP, Twilight basically ruins her friends' lives, puts them in traumatizing, agonizing situations, and yet just because she fixes her own bullshit mistakes, she gets to become an alicorn. That is so... I'm sorry to use this word, but that is so freaking unfair! And for Celestia to come in... Celestia's singing in this episode was beautiful, by the way. But for Celestia to come in and say, oh, you did this, and that's why you can become an alicorn, whereas Starswirl was bearded was denied alicornship just because he didn't finish a fucking spell? Just because he didn't finish a fucking spell? Other than my hang-ups with alicornness, the episode was good. However, I will say this, and if any brony decides to harp on me for saying this, I'm just going to ignore them, because I've practically been insulted out of the fandom at this point for being on the side of the argument that people shouldn't have torrented the documentary, no matter how much they didn't like how it turned out. But if any brony decides to harp on me for saying what I'm about to say here, I really don't care at this point. The episode was rushed. You cannot deny that the episode was rushed. It was rushed. And not only that, it was condensed. 6 songs in one episode. 6 songs in one 22-minute episode. That doesn't even divide. Actually, I did divide this. After I watched the episode, I divided this. Basically, it equaled out to them inserting a song every 3.5 minutes, give or take a couple seconds. Now, the songs were good, don't get me wrong on that, but that kind of storytelling, from a screenwriting perspective, that was obnoxious. The episode and the songs were great, but that kind of organization, that was obnoxious. Also, one more note about the episode. What the hell was with those dresses at the end? People are saying, oh, they're ceremonial dresses, they don't have to wear them all the time. Ceremonial doesn't equal ugly. Ceremonial dresses are sometimes supposed to be the most ornate, the most beautiful dresses you ever wear at one point during your life. They don't have to be the most ugly things that people can come up with. That's, oh my gosh, those dresses, especially poor Luna. It's like, people are saying, oh well, purple won't contrast with black. She's blue. In the shade, purple and blue do go together, but it's the shades of purple that they used that was horrible. Hell, even Twilight's ceremonial dress was off-putting. It's like, I think when I first saw the picture of Alicorn Twilight, I think that was one of the main things that pissed me off. The color of her dress. She's a purple Alicorn. She's a purple horse. Do something to get some colors that blend with that. Cream does not go with purple. Okay, that's enough of that. The next point I'm talking about. Oh my gosh. Woohoo! Oh my gosh. I was so happy to get my internet back yesterday because I was able to I didn't miss too much in the Hitalia fandom wise. I only missed like one episode and I was able to watch it yesterday. But oh my gosh. People, if you still have the gall to say that Hitalia the Beautiful World is the worst thing to happen to Hitalia after the Beautiful World episode 5, you just need to go. You really just need to go. Because that episode in of itself proves that Hitalia isn't just a happy-go-lucky random anime. The Beautiful World episode 5 had to be the most mature, the most well-written episode of Hitalia to this date. I mean, and the fact that it was about France, the fact that they managed to make such a compelling, emotional episode about France of all nations, that just shows that Hidekazu is like Hidekazu's writing is really able to shine through this new series where it wasn't able to shine in the last series. Yeah, the episode concerned France, but it concerned France, but it wasn't really about France. It was about this soldier who was having flashbacks of spending time with his grandfather, and his grandfather was showing him this photo album, and his grandfather had a picture in it saying that, oh, this was when I met France. And of course, as a little boy, the soldier's confused, like, how do you meet France? France is a country. And his grandfather's like, yeah, France is a country, and it's one of the best countries you could ever meet. And then when the soldier gets older, and he's enlisted in France, he actually sees France, and he's shocked to see that France has not aged a day since those pictures were taken. And the rest of the episode is basically, well, not even going into the rest of the episode, but even when the soldier meets France, France has this wonderful soliloquy about the nature of a nation and a country. He describes a nation as a ship, and the people on the ship, and the citizens of a country are like the passengers on a ship. All those passengers need to work together to keep a ship running smoothly. And then later on in the episode, the soldier is talking to his fiance, and he's talking about like, he hasn't aged a day, he still looks handsome. Oh, it would probably be amazing to be immortal. And then his fiance is saying, well, immortality might seem nice, but what would happen to me? We would get married, we would start a family, but I would get old and I would eventually die while you are still young. And even after that, you would have to go through so many of your loved ones dying over and over again while you're still there. A normal person cannot stand that. And I really love how they did this because not many episodes of no episode of Italia actually took the nation's immortality into account before this. It was just a fan speculated thing. It's like, well, the nations have to be immortal, da 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 da. But the nation's lives in Italia, it's hard to go by because there's a lot of loopholes and things. Like, a nation doesn't die. They can't die from normal wounds. They don't age. They don't age. They don't die unless their nation is disbanded or their nation falls apart. Kind of like what happened to ancient Rome, Germania, all the ancients. But then again, there's Prussia. He's still alive, yet Prussia isn't. Although in the world there's a city in Canada called Prussia, and it's common knowledge that if Prussia were to be reinstated, that what is now modern day Eastern Germany would be what would become Prussia. So Drew those notes, Prussia is still alive, though it's complicated. But I just really liked the tone of this episode. It was mature, it was well written, hell, if Italia was like that, if every other episode was like that, if it went from random serious, Italia would be one of the best anime in the world, not just in my eyes, not just in the fans' eyes. It would be one of the best animes in the world. Okay, next topic. Ugh. 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 Okay, see, you can kind of see where this next topic is going from my reaction, but ugh. Meine kleine Hasbro. They're really trying way too hard to be the next Disney when it comes to being a copyright Nazi. And the main fact that proves this is were their actions concerning the Fighting is Magic fan-made game. You know what? If you guys had slammed them with a cease and desist earlier on, right when they decided to do this, I wouldn't have been as upset. But to wait 2.5 years, 2.5 years full of development, the game's almost done. To wait 2.5 years, that was unacceptable. And people saying, "Oh, Hasbro's in the right to do this." No, okay, you can be in the right to do something, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. And one of the things that really pisses me off about this is the amount of corporate cocksucking that Equestria Daily was doing when this story broke out. Hasbro was in the right. Hasbro was in the right. Maybe the main six shouldn't have gotten so much exposure. Bullshit! The main six didn't ask for exposure. The only reason why they were even nominated for EVA was because some bronies in the fighting game community were all like, "Oh, well, you know what? What's a good game? Fighting is magic. Let's show people that the game designers in the brony community are actually competent, can actually make good products." And it's like, the main six development team, they weren't doing this for money. They were just doing this to make a good game. And for Hasbro to do this it's infuriating. It is so infuriating. I mean, this and the fact that people were jumping down my throat for saying that torrenting the Brony documentary just because we didn't like how it turned out was unacceptable. These two things almost made me want to leave the fandom, and the fact that we were getting Alicorn Twilight, those three things almost made me want to leave the fandom. But then I just decided, you know what? It's not even worth it, because at the end of the day, Hasbro and Funimation are my two most hated corporations in the world. I'm sorry. I am really, really sorry to say that, but they are. This decision is almost exactly like Japan's stance on doujinshi. Oh, did you guys not know that? Because you all do realize that in the eyes of corporations, everyone who makes fan art, fan fictions, doujinshi, flash animations, we're all criminals. You realize that, right? It's like, in Japan, when you make a doujinshi, you're already in a negative light, but copyright laws will leave you alone as long as your doujinshi doesn't make a certain amount of money. So you can do whatever you want, and the companies will be like, it doesn't matter, it's going to turn out to be crap anyway. But if you make a certain amount of money, they will pursue legal action. So that's basically what Hasbro did here. It's like, bronies want to do their shit. It's like, they can do it. But it's like, they've made something good? The bronies actually made something good? Well, let's slam them up the ass with a cease and desist because they can't have anything good. We have to give them crap. It's just like what happened with White Dove Creations. The person who made the God tier show accurate plushies and they would sell them on eBay. But one day House was like, she's making good stuff using our creative license. You have to stop or else we're gonna sue. Okay, that one you could argue. Okay, she was making money off of it, but Fighting is Magic there was no monetary compensation for that. They were doing that of their own time. They put their own heart, their own effort, their own sleepless nights into that game, and you guys just said stop or we will sue. And it's really sad because the group that was their first project. They were going to make other original games after this, but with the stress of all this, two of them quit the group, and now they're up the creek without a paddle thanks to all this. Hasbro has to be making the stupidest decisions as of late. And Hasbro, by the way, we have this wonderful franchise circled around talking equines in a magical world of fantasy and wonder. How do we make more money off of that? Let's turn the ponies human and put them in high school. Yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? Who is thinking for Hasbro at this moment? Because it's obviously not anyone with any competent brain cells in their head. And then people are saying, you don't know, it might turn out good, it might turn out to be like a slice of life anime. Bitch, if I wanted to watch Azumanga Daioh, I would get my DVD and watch Azumanga Daioh. Let's answer some questions, shall we? Sorry this is going to be out of order. I really should have written these down somewhere, but I didn't. I'm sorry. But the first question I have here is from 11T Mutant XZ. Their question was, what is your least favorite episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Keep calm and flutter on. Okay. At first it used to be Feeling Pinky Keen, but then after a while I just that episode it was Pinkie Pie, and then I didn't have a really horrible episode of MLP until season 3, and it was Too Many Pinkie Pies, and that was only because during that time I did not like Pinkie Pie. The episode A Friend Indeed, I think it was, A Friend Indeed really made me want to punch this bitch in the face because her actions in that episode really just, Pinkie Pie. But no, I didn't. But slowly I was giving those episodes free passes. It's like Pinkie Pie is Pinkie Pie. Hell, she was raised Amish. She has every right to be crazy. But then when it came to Keep Calm and Flutter On, it's like, Fluttershy, bitch, what is your excuse? You have only gotten from it to worse as this series has gone on. And there's one thing in Keep Calm and Flutter On that I did not even notice until I was watching a review of the episode. There is a scene near the end of the episode that is the greatest case of fourth wall nuking in MLP history. Because after Discord is all like, friendship is really important, friendship is magic. After he says all that, the main 6 and Celestia all turn around towards the audience, and their faces are just presenting the fact that they're like, wow, this really shouldn't have happened. This is so freaking awkward. Even the characters knew that this episode either should not have been made or it was really made in a god awful way. So yeah, least favorite episode, keep calm and flutter on. Next question. I love Chaser. I love Chaser 1990 asks, what are your feelings on Bleach? My my thing with Bleach is that it's it wasn't just the fact that it's one of the big three that put me off of it, but it was also the company that was handling it, Adult Swim, because the way that they drug the I officially lost interest in Bleach during the Save Rufia arc. I know that that's a horrible thing to say, and it's like, oh, that's so early. How can you lose Bleach at such an early point? It was already being dragged out, episode-wise. We all know that. But the way that Adult Swim constantly dragged it out, constantly skipped showing episodes, constantly did reruns of 20 episodes before that point. The way that they treated it is just like, okay, I don't even know if I really want to continue on with this anime. I don't even know if I want to look it up online. It's taking so much of my time that it's like, I don't know if I care anymore. But I will say one thing. I used to always say that Bleach and Naruto were like different sides of the same coin because whereas Naruto had good character design and horrible story writing, Bleach used to have good story writing but horrible character design. So they both did what the other failed at in my eyes. Okay, next question comes from Nod Lucario, who asks, unrelated note, what's your opinion on Samurai 7, Sayuki, and Dead Man Wonderland? And what would be your opinion if there were to be a Star Fox anime? Okay, well that's two questions, but I accidentally copy-pasted both of them. Also, let me bring up a note concerning multiple questions. If you ask me a long list of questions, I will only answer them one at a time. So just to let you guys know. But yeah, concerning your question, Samurai 7, it's a good anime. I got bored of watching it, especially with Adult Swim. It's like, I had watched halfway before, and then I lost interest, but then when Adult Swim decided to bring it on, I lost interest like that. It's like, I don't know. Adult Swim Toonami really did not do it for me with that anime. It just made me want to stop watching it even faster. Sayuki, I never watched. I know about it, I just never watched it. Dead Man One. I'm shutting myself up right now because when Toonami first started up again, and Dead Man Wonderland came on, me and my friends got together at one of their houses to watch it. And the first episode, I could not shut up. I was literally saying, does no one in this town have any mental capacity? Dude, what is their law system? Why are they taking kids to a freaking prison for a field trip? What is the mental process with this anime? I don't understand. And it's like, I was just that all my inner thoughts would not stay in my head. I was talking during the whole first episode, and at the end, it's like, I think I watched the hentai like this once. I really did. Like, I really did watch a hentai that started out like Dead Man Wonderland started a long time ago. Like, am I watching that hentai again? And what would my opinions be if there were a Star Fox anime? Go ahead and do it, as long as it's done competently. I mean, shoot. Actually, I think a Star Fox anime would do a lot more justice for Star Fox as a franchise than what Nintendo has been doing lately, which has been, nothing. Oh yeah, Star Fox 3D, yeah. Yay. Okay, the last question that I have in this list is from Astrolina Dinavale. I probably butchered your name, I'm sorry. Who is your favorite brush spirit in Okami besides Ami, Chibi, or Shiranui? Okay, my favorites were Gekigami and Nuregami. I just like, well, first of all, Gekigami giving us lightning, that was awesome. And then Nuregami, her her intro. I mean, I know that the Fiery Joker said he hated that cutscene, but I actually really liked that cutscene. The fact that she's stuck in the bottle and then she regains her composition like that. I really liked that. So yeah, those are the questions I have for this time, and yeah, I am going to go work on some videos now.